That was a long walk. That's right. I was waiting for my on music. Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks to Insider Summit, to Steve. This has been great. Thanks for having me. And not just because of the content, meeting all of you guys. This is my first time at Insider Summit, and it's been really cool to meet so many like-minded individuals that have the same issues, and to kind of geek out about email and marketing. It's been really fun. So thanks for that. And thanks to Nicole. She actually gave me an awesome segue. Her last one, which was about the future in machine learning. I'm going to take you through a little bit of what we're doing at Overstock and how we are actually taking the steps in order to really create this magical term called AI and machine learning that a lot of us really don't understand. So as I said, Brent Christensen, I'm the Director of Database Marketing at Overstock.com. And that covers a few things. It's a really vague title. I cover automated email specifically. That's my main thing that I do. The next ones are lifecycle and triggered, so both all of those. And then also app push, browser push, direct mail, acquisition, deliverability, and aspects of our CRM, and soon SMS, so I'm pretty excited about that. So it keeps me busy, but it's a lot of fun. Overstock, in case you didn't know, is an online retailer. They are here in Salt Lake City. We have millions of SKUs on site, and one thing that you might not know about us is that none of those SKUs are Overstock at all. From the name, you might think they are, but we actually have all new products like you're seeing here, but at Overstock prices. And so that's a really common misconception. So if you're thinking of buying anything for the home, consider us. That's my little bit. That's my plug. So a bit of background about me, and I'll go into a bit of why I'm going to talk about me for a second. I started out as an analyst, and then it went into business intelligence, and then as an ETL developer, and then later on as a database developer. And through happenstance and some luck, I ended up on the marketing team at Overstock. And it wasn't planned by any means. I wasn't really excited, or I was excited, but I wasn't really planning, I guess, on staying in marketing. But I'm sure I'm not the only one in the room that email and marketing kind of sucks you in. It's addicting. And I have never had so much fun in a job. So I've been doing that for a while. When I first started, we were about 6 people, I think, and it was batch and blast. We call it broadcast, and that's our daily sends. I owned Thursdays at the time, and when I came on, I was kind of the data guy. And so I saw some opportunities there. So I wrote our first automated campaign. It was called Defectors, and it was for purchasers who were no longer purchasing. And it was a success. It worked. Our benchmark was broadcast. So anything that had a better income rate than that was a win. And so we didn't have any coupons. We didn't have any offers, nothing in this Defectors campaign. And it was winning. It was doing well. Later on, I went on to deliverability and built our first deliverability platform. And luckily, and very proud to say that we haven't had many deliverability issues, except for Hotmail recently, but that's another topic. And so I've been, the reason I bring that up is I have a very data-centric view on things, specific to marketing. And early on in marketing, I had a lot of success. And so let me tell you a bit about the history of Overstock now and where we started from. So we started from very humble beginnings, as I was telling you. One campaign and one turned into multiple. Soon we started to get some attention from the executives, and they decided to make it so it was all data-driven. And so they kind of adopted this mantra that in God we trust, all others must bring data. And that's how we were going to start running our marketing campaigns, and it took a while. And it's still, I think in any marketing campaign, there are plenty of opinions still running abound that have nothing to do with data or sometimes even logic. But anyway, we really saw the value of data ninjas, as it were, on our team. So we started to learn about this and develop and to get better and better. And soon we got enough attention to where they gave us a dev team. We were so excited. We finally had a dev team. And it was a powerful dev team. One of our excellent devs, who's now a VP at Overstock, he led that dev group and helped us build our first abandonment campaign, abandoned product, search, and cart. And it was stellar. It was incredible, especially for its time. And this is a few years ago. For its time, it was incredible. We were able to make money just by reminding people that they did something. Hey, by the way, you left this product in your cart. Oh, money! Woo. And we didn't need coupons. We didn't need offers. So this was really good income rate. And once again, like I said, we were always using broadcast, which in and of itself is a world-class platform as the benchmark to win against. So we started building more. Went on to talk about what else we could be doing. So we're starting to understand that relevancy is valuable. It doesn't require the type of coupons and offers that that normally broadcast would have to take. All we needed to do is make things relevant. And so what about something else? What else could we do? And that had to do with timing. So we thought about timing. Where can we change timing? And actually, the now director of our broadcast department, Julie, had a great idea. Her idea was to make our welcome series real time. And welcome, back in the day, it was either between an hour and 24 hours that a customer would finally get their email. So we went back to our dev team and said, okay, work with this ESP that we have, try to get this under a minute. Try to get it under a few seconds if you can. And they succeeded. I have no idea how they did it, but they got it to where we could send emails within seconds of somebody signing up. And it was great. We saw a 30% increase in revenue just by the timing. It was incredible to see that much revenue come in. And actually, Welcome is still our #1 revenue generating campaign at Overstock.com. So it's fantastic. So while this is happening, while we're doing this, we're building more campaigns. We're building wish lists and favorites and birthdays and anniversaries and new movers and new baby and all these different life cycle campaigns, but they're not quite matching up. They're valuable and they're still beating that benchmark, but they're not quite as valuable as the welcome and the abandonment. So we start going back to the drawing board. If we can increment these other welcomes and abandonments by just a couple of percentage points, that's worth 4 or 5 different campaigns over here that we could be building. And frankly, we were starting to run out of ideas anyway. We weren't really sure what we were going to be doing. I mean, how many times can you email somebody about their new baby? You know, we're running out of those ideas. So we needed to enrich that. So we started collecting more data. We had Omniture already, as most of us do. That's typically a daily batch. And wasn't really enough, so we thought, why not? We'll stand up our own Hadoop instance and start collecting all the site data in addition to Omniture. So at that point, we started bringing in customer data and customer behavior data and digital assets, which of course are the images that actually represent the products that people are going to buy, and then our products, which with millions of SKUs, that's a massive amount of data. And we weren't really sure what to do with it. We were really excited that we had it, but what do? How do we start to harness this? So we brought in some really expert people, and we brought in data scientists. These data scientists were really excited. They went straight to work, and they broke our data warehouse. We were not excited. We have a world-class data warehouse. It's very nice, and they rendered it useless. And we realized that at that point, we didn't have the right infrastructure in order to support the type of things that we wanted to be doing. So we've learned a few things so far. We've learned that, that we don't have what we needed to do on site in order to excel, in order to make that next step. So we look to the cloud, as many of us do. By all means, if you want to try and build something that'll support data science, that would be great. But we went through analysis, and it is very expensive, and maintenance, don't. Just go to the cloud. They do it, and they do it really well. So anyway, we went to the cloud, and they did not miss a beat. They already have produced multiple models, and they're still training these models, but even during training, they're still adding impact. And just in case you're wondering, training a model, depending on how much data you have, can take weeks or months. So it's a process. But they're going through this with with very little data that we have about our customers, we can pass that through, and they're able to give us offer optimization. So for a customer, in order to convert, should I give them free shipping? Should I give them a 10%? Do they need a 20% in order to convert? That's what their information that they're giving us. So already super valuable. Another thing that they're doing for us is adding for the time of day. So now we know what time of day to send to a customer so that we can access that and make that even more valuable for highest engagement, which is something that we've been talking about, especially for re-engagement. And that's where we started, actually. We started sending at different times for people who weren't opening. So that might be something that you guys might want to talk about. I know that I was sitting with the re-engagement table earlier on yesterday, and that was something that really worked for us, was just sending at different times for those non-openers. Category recs. With very little data, we were able to make recommendations for product categories for these individuals. And then something that's really big that I think is going to start be a very big buzzword here very soon is going to be called multi-arm bandits. And that's for testing. A/B tests are great. And you have an A and a B, and if A wins, that's great. But what do? Do you stick with that? Well, we really shouldn't be. And so what multi-arm bandits do is they insert randomness into this test. And so as it's going, we can see if any of the random ones start to be A. And then at that point, we have more learnings. We can start to change A, our control, and to make it even better. So multi-arm bandits are going to be a thing. And they're going to be the next buzzword, I think. So what have we learned so far? We've learned that relevancy and recency are great. That's nothing new. We've always known that. Something that we didn't know that was new was the infrastructure. The infrastructure was so important for us to take those next steps, and it's something that isn't talked about in marketing. Now, I talked about my background, and this is why I talked about it, because I have a data mindset. I started out in data, and so that's really where I come from as my point of view. Infrastructure is never talked. It's not a word we talk about, except for actually just recently with Nicole, who gave me a great segue. And that's really where it's at. So timing or recency, relevancy, and our infrastructure. Those are what's going to help us take it to the next steps. So where do we go from here? What do we do? How do we start advancing even that? We've got the models, we've got the environment, we're up in the cloud, we've put up all our data, we're getting models back. Well, how do we take that to the next level? How do we really get to the real-time personalization that we're talking about? How do we get to AI? This fancy word that nobody really knows what's happening. The answer is data platforms, or at least it is for us. Now, this is very early. This is where Overstock is right now. We're building our first data platform, and we're really, really excited about it. We're very nearly done with our customer data platform. So let's talk about data platforms for just a sec. What is a data platform? It is a persistent, unified database with multiple sources accessible by other systems for the single view or truth, and it's in near real time. I'll let you take that picture. So here's an example of our data, or very similar to our data platform. So you can see here on your left, demographic. So, and this can be first or third party. As it's coming in, we can import that. On-site traffic, all of the on-site traffic. The engagement, I mean, I'm sure that we all know our send sizes. Overstock doesn't have a small list. Our send sizes every day are massive. To get all of those, just the sends in there is incredible, the fact that we can push those through. Transactional data, mobile and device, customer service, they all get into our data integration layer where they all get put together. Then we start processing this information, and we go into processing. And cross-device tracking. Well, relevancy isn't worth anything if you don't know who the customer is. So getting that ID and finding out a unified information about that customer, even without email address, and we'll go into that a bit later. How can you have that? How valuable is it to know that a customer is the same customer everywhere? It's invaluable because you can really start to personalize that. After that, we have predictive, and then of course segmentation, where you actually start chunking out those groups. Then you get to orchestration. That's where I'll bring in the PDP and the ADP. ADP is for asset data platform. That's about all our digital assets, how they're changing all the time. And then product data platform is for all the products that we have. With millions of SKUs on site, prices changing, they're going on-site, off-site. It's a fair amount of data. And those data platforms will also be fed into the orchestration and to the data integration. And then after that, because this is a modular piece of infrastructure, it can send this information anywhere, to any one of your channels. So a lot of these I'm lucky to actually have a big say in. So email, SMS, app push, browser push, social, web or display, direct mail even. All of these aspects of it, it's so valuable to have this information in real time and just the quantity of it. So some of the questions that you might have are, why? Do we really need that much data? We're for email. Email is a bit slower. It's an older technology. Do we need all that data? And why in real time? And why is everything broken out and compartmentalized? And so these are the reasons that I want to go over with you. So why do we have so much data? It takes a lot of data to personalize. I think we all know that. To be really good at personalization, it's difficult. And so I'll give you an example. Something that we're still not doing, but something that I want to do is on the roadmap, is for our abandonment series. We have customers, let's say that they abandon and look at 3 different products. On the first product, they spend 5 seconds. On the second product, they spend 2 minutes. They're browsing, they're scrolling, they're looking at favorites, they're looking at reviews, they're reading the reviews, and then on the third product, they look for another 5 seconds. Well, based off of what we do, because we started with relevancy, we say, okay, well, the last product that they looked at is probably the most important. Given the description that I just gave you, we all know that's not right. We should have started with the second product, make that above the fold. So that, and based all of our recommendations based on that second product, that's the product that they're really interested in. That's the one that they've really spent the time in. But that takes a lot of data from a lot of different sources in order to put that together. That's what we're calling intent-based marketing. And we will be there very shortly. We're very excited about that. So that's why we need so much data. Why we need so many different sources. Why real-time? Do we really need real-time? We only have a few real-time campaigns in email. The welcome, as I mentioned before, order comp, ship comp, those types of emails, which are pretty standard and don't really require a whole lot of information. So why real time? Consider this. How cool would this be? At send time, your email gets built. At send time. Like, it's incredible. Just consider the fact that we've scheduled an email, we know we're going to send one, and then at time of send, it builds and compiles, pinging the CDP, pulling back all the information that we need. It's able to compile and do all these things. It's mind-blowing. How cool would that be? That's one aspect of email, how it could be used. And then, of course, you have all the other channels that are real-time. You have SMS, app push, browser push. All of these channels are real-time and can certainly be using this technology. And why are they all modularized? Well, a lot of the vendors in the room, I know have seen this. And all the brands in the room should have seen this. We have so many options as brands now. It's incredible. Over the last 6 years, it's grown exponentially, our options. And so while right now you might have best in class for your vendor, tomorrow somebody might be doing something better, cheaper, and faster. And we need to be agile enough in order to adopt those different vendors as quickly as we swap out campaigns. And that's why we have that. So I'm probably not a big fan of the vendors. Sorry. But in reality, we do need to do that for our customers. Earlier on, I think it was yesterday, somebody had mentioned that our customers are way ahead of us. They're expecting more. And this is the way that we can deliver it to them, hyper-personalized and in real time. So my point, in closing, this is super exciting, and that's a data geek / marketing geek that's saying that. But for me, this is stellar. It's really exciting stuff. And wherever you are, I kind of went through a history of Overstock. Wherever you are in your history, just please know that the data is so important. And if you're available and you have the resources, devote them to the data, because powering all of our marketing decisions should be that data. To really power the 3 most important things that we have, which is recency, relevancy, and infrastructure. Thank you.
Branch Schmitz with Deluxe. Are you comfortable sharing any of the technology you're actually using within that platform? Are there certain platforms or vendors that you're using, or is that all in-house built?
No, not in-house built. There are companies that do it way better than us. If you'll get with me after, we can discuss what vendors we're using.
How did moving this stuff up to the cloud change your own in-house infrastructure in terms of staffing? What does it take on your end to run this and pull the stuff from the cloud?
Great question. We've had to bring on a lot more data scientists than we thought initially. And that takes a fair amount of work. And then that also puts resource constraints on ETL, because they're typically the people that are pushing the data up to the cloud, and then they're setting up the processes, so your Golden Gates or what have you, to real-time replicate that information over into these platforms. So data science, ETL, and that's really it. That's what's so great about the cloud, is it's not incredibly resource heavy.
Since you've got an infrastructure that's now prepared to serve in real time all of these multiple messaging channels, including push, SMS, whole variety, I imagine even more. What are you seeing? Are you asking for preferences? And what are you seeing from your user base in terms of how they want to be connected to? Is that welcome email going to evolve into a welcome SMS or a welcome push from your app? How is that going to work?
Email is still king. Email kills it. Yes. Oh my gosh, email's amazing, and I love email. And Nicole said it earlier. She hit on so many points. When our execs want to make money, what do? Hey, Brent, send another email. Okay. So I mean, yeah.
So when you talked about real time, sorry.
Thank you. There you go.
Remind us who you are.
Hi, it's Sam. When you talked about real time, have you actually measured what real time is? Is it minutes? Is it hours? Is it the same day?
Excellent question. Real time doesn't exist. Real time does not exist. Nothing is real time. Everybody makes it sound like it's real. It's not. If you can get something within typically a second with under 1,000 milliseconds, it's pretty much considered real time. So within a few hundred milliseconds is what we're shooting for. But yeah, anything under a second.
Brent, thanks very much. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you.